Good morning and welcome to our research presentation today of the IU Ukraine Non-Residential Scholars Program. It's a pleasure to introduce our speaker, Dr. Vitaly Chernoivanenko. I'll give a brief introduction. He holds a PhD degree in history. Dr. Chernoivanenko is a senior research fellow at the Judaica Department of the Institute of Manuscripts at the Vernadsky National Library. He serves as president of the Ukrainian Association for Jewish Studies, as well as chief editor of Judaica Ukrainica. He has many research foci, including biblical interpretation, Second Temple Judaism, homoeroticism in Jewish religion and culture, as well as the history of postage stamps, coins, and paper money. And today he is sharing his insights with us on the topic of Jewish themes in Ukraine's Philately. So without further ado, Dr. Vitaly Chernoivanenko, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you, Svetlana, and thank you. I would like to thank all the staff of this program, and it's a great honor for me to be the part of this program. And this is the second year I take part in this program. I'm very honored and very pleased to be the part of the program, as well as to give this presentation. So hello everyone, hello dear colleagues. So let's start this lecture, this presentation, and I would like to so I have a long presentation. It is intended for a few hours, but we have half an hour, so I will try to be as brief as possible. Okay, so I'm going to start the presentation. It is already open, and so I need to share it with you. Okay. Okay, here we are. Can you see it? Can you see this presentation?
Yes, looks great.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I cannot do you so that you can see it on the full screen. So, but I guess that it is visible enough. So, like this or that. So you can see it, yeah. So is it visible? Is it visible enough?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So for the very beginning, please let me give you a short introduction to, because I understand that some of you maybe know nothing or almost nothing about philately and terms related to this field. And some things, some information about what's the life of a philatelist and what actions are usual for any or for regular actions are used by are done by a philatelist. Okay, so first of all, I need to say that for me personally, this is the very hobby. It's for many years, even for a few decades. So for my childhood, from my school years, from my secondary school, it was a hobby, which became which has become to a scholarly interest recently. So last year, when these philately, Ukrainian philately became popular around the world because of the full-scale invasion, because of the war, the Ukrainian Post began to issue stamps on on war themes topics. So the Ukrainian philately from February 2023 became very war-themed field with different topics related to this war. Starting from the warship war, and the very popular phrase on this matter, Russian warship, go yourself. I'm sorry. And you know, it's a very interesting case, because it is the very first, you know, the philately comes from the 19th century. And this is the very first case when such words, bad words, are used in official philately. Okay, and through different topics, then like good evening, we are from Ukraine, and Patron, the dog, and Shadrach, famous carol. There was the centennial from the when the first release and when the premiere was held in the Carnegie Hall in New York City 100 years ago, and some other topics, and these stamps became very popular in the world. So okay, so some, as I promised, I need to give you some terms and to say something about the regular actions and some rules in philately. So usually philatelists, they collect stamps. There are also postal blocks and envelopes, and there are some types of envelopes like first day, and you can say first day envelope, but there is the special term first day cover, FDC, and there are maximum cards, and there are different kinds of cancellations. Cancellation is a term which it means so a more general, some general term is postmark, or postmark or postmarking. It means when you have usually it is a picture, and it is put on the cover, on the envelope, on the first day, or on a special occasion. So let's I will give you some examples, and you will see these examples, how it looks like, but what a maximum card is, let's say. So you have the postal card, okay? So a picture postal card. Then you have a stamp. It means, so the picture, a picture on a stamp should correspond to a picture on a postal card, okay? So the same picture on a postcard and the same picture on a stamp, then you need to put this, it has a clue, yeah, and you need to put this stamp on the and or either on a first day cover or on a postal card, and then to cancel it. It means to have this cancellation, or to, in other words, to postmark this envelope, this cover, or a card. Is it understandable? Okay. Yeah. So stamps or postal blocks as a main category, a main term in philately, but also other subjects of collecting in philately, like maximum cards or first day covers, and cancellations. Is a special subject, but it is very integral and very part of philately indeed. Okay, so now let's take a look on our artifacts, and of course we have no time for to speak about all Ukrainian philately, so I have the research topic on Jewish topics, on Jewish themes in Ukrainian philately. Okay, about some future things, future ideas and future plans. I would like to speak about if you have any questions, or maybe I would like to add this at the very end. Okay, so let's move to the slides and to Jewish themes. So the I would like to speak in chronological order, but it is quite difficult. So I would like to speak about very main Jewish themes in Ukrainian philately, and so the very main themes, and then if we have some more time, I would like to add some extra material to this presentation. Okay, so one of the very Jewish themes in Ukrainian philately appeared in not in the very beginning of Ukrainian independent philately, and so okay, so I of course I need to add that the philately of Ukrainian of independent Ukraine appeared in 1992, not in 1991, not immediately when Ukraine proclaimed its independence, because for the first time it's not a first case in philately, but you know there are some when the empire collapses or something like this, when you have some kind of transition between states and in the history. So in philately there is a phenomenon when you have the stamps of the previous state. So let's say, so there's the Soviet Union. There were no special for decades. There were no stamps of Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. So there were only stamps by the Soviet Union, issued by the USSR for all the republics, by all for 15 Soviet republics. But before the Soviet Union, and in the very early period of the Soviet Union, there were Ukrainian stamps. There were stamps of Ukrainian People Republic. So the Ukrainian stamp that circulated in the time of the revolution, of the Ukrainian Revolution, and in the very early the early period of the Soviet time, I mean just a few years, 1922 and 1923. So, and then a gap, then the period before the Ukrainians' independence, and in this, so back to There was a kind of explosion. I don't know what happened. And there was a short period when the Soviet Union collapsed, and Ukraine used the Soviet stamps. And this phenomenon is called provisorium. But provisory in Ukrainian or Russian, provisory, in English. I'm sorry. But what's the phenomenon? So when you have the Soviet stamp, and for example, you need so to have a new stamp of a new state, you approach so the most usual thing, the more usual approach is to overprint something. So trees of Ukrainian trident, national symbol, as an overprint on a Soviet stamp. So that practice was widely used. And in 1992, Ukraine established its own independent philately of the independent state, and became quite active in these, so that not recently, I'm sorry, recently Ukraine's philately was widely renowned and recognized as one of the best philatelist in the world, in aesthetic terms, in other terms too. So the first Jewish theme in independent Ukraine appeared in 2009, and was dedicated, that issue was dedicated to a renowned Jewish writer, one of the fathers and founders of modern Jewish literature, and first of all, modern Yiddish literature, Sholem Aleichem.
Vitaly,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Your slides are not advancing. I don't know if you wanted to show. Okay,
I'm sorry.
thank you.
That's only because of me.
Got it. Thanks.
So yeah. So now you can see this stamp. Okay, so there are single stamps, yeah. So it's it depends on a philatelist. So someone collects a single stamp like this, you know. Just can you see when I'm doing this? Yeah. Okay, so a single stamp, or there is a quite old tradition when some philatelists collect 4 stamps together. So the second approach, and the final approach to collect the whole sheets of the stamps. So now you can, so here you can see a sample and an example of a whole sheet, which consists of 16 stamps. But that was not the first time when Shalom Aleichem stamp was issued. So there was a stamp, Shalom Aleichem stamp, issued in the Soviet Union in 1959. And it has a different types, and this is the regular stamp. So in 2009, actually, Ukraine faces Shalom Aleichem edition postal issue for the second time, indeed, but independent Ukraine, of course, for the first time. So so here we have this stamp dedicated to Shalom Aleichem, and a first day cover was issued too, and here you can see a cancellation, yeah. So here is the cancellation. Okay, this is the cancellation or postmark. Again, postmark is the very general term. Usually philatelists used in English used a term cancellation, and there are two types of cancellations. So this is the cancellation. Later I will demonstrate you the second case, the so-called special cancellation, special occasion cancellation. But this is the first type of cancellation, which is more common. But anyway, so this is the first day cancellation. So we see a first day cover, a first day cancellation or postmark, and a stamp. So it means that you can so everything depends on a stamp issue. So when you have the date, a day of a stamp's issue, on the same day, on this day, and only on this day, you need to go to the postal office to buy a first day cover and to make this cancellation. So to put this stamp on this cover and to make a cancellation. Then you have a phenomenon which is called a first day cover, which should include a stamp and a cancellation. So when you have solo only a cover, so you have an envelope. You can say that this is a first day. You can say this is a first day cover when you have no stamps and cancellations. You can say, I have an envelope which was intended as a first day cover to be canceled as a first day cover on the first day of a stamps issue. Okay, so and it is quite common when you have a phenomenon, when you have so a cancellation is done in one city or in a few cities, and sometime so usually in one city, usually in the capital. So in Ukraine it's Kiev, but but oftenly so it is done in at least in a few cities, in two cities, and sometime it happens in three cities, and rarely, it's a rare phenomenon. So it may happen in four cities. So let's say between among the minorities, the stamps dedicated in minorities. A bit later, we'll see the stamps dedicated to Jews as a nation, as an ethnic group in Ukraine. But and we'll see two cancellations. But as example of three cancellations, so we have Greeks. So Kiev cancellation, Mariupol cancellation, and Odessa cancellation, three cancellation. But usually two cancellations or sometimes one cancellation. Here we have two cancellations. In Kiev, of course, there is no cases when you have no cancellations in Kiev. So it's like a mandatory cancellations to be held in the capital city. So Kiev, of course, Kiev, and then so the second city, just guess, of course, Pereyaslav, Kiev region, so the birthplace of Shalom Aleichem. So you can see the cancellation, and you can see Pereyaslav. So the former name of this city, Pereyaslav Khmelnytsky, the name from the Soviet time until I'm sorry, from the Russian Empire. No, I think from the Soviet time, and until very recently, so last year, yeah, or 2021. So recently, so it was remained to just Pereyaslav, not Pereyaslav Khmelnytsky. Okay, so okay, very limited time we have. So and here we have Shalom Aleichem theme again. So it was 10 years before 2009. You can see the date here, 1999, 10 years before. There was no stamp. There was no stamp, but the envelope, not the envelope for the first, because it's impossible. You need to have an official stamp to make a first day cover. So when you have no stamp, you have no first day cover. You have a regular, let's say, a special envelope, a special occasion envelope. So you can see the special envelope was issued. Here you have the picture of Shalom Aleichem, and this is just a regular stamp of Ukraine, a so-called standard stamp. Which which usually in different countries, not only in Ukraine, has very big printing runs, and you have the cancellation here. So this is not a cancellation of the first day. This is a special occasion cancellation. So you have some date, maybe an anniversary or something like that, and you have a special envelope, a special cover, and a special cancellation here with any stamp or with no stamp, but usually with some stamp which may fit this or that topic. Okay, so you can see this is just an example. You know, this is a Soviet postcard. This is not a postcard of independent Ukraine. This is a postcard of issued in the Soviet time, but it is some like it's kind of practice when some philatelists take all the artifact, old material like this postcard of the Soviet time, and put the stamp, a stamp of the later period, or of the current time of today, of today's Ukraine. So use we can see the use of today's cancellation as well here. Okay, so it's another kind of example, but this is the card of independent Ukraine, but this is private issue, not an official, not a post Ukrainian, not of the Ukrainian post officially done, officially issued. So again, the stamp, an official stamp, an official cancellation, but used on the private card. Okay, so it's not a Jewish theme, but you know, somehow you can see this. This is the stamp dedicated to the Orange Revolution of 2004. It's interesting that for the first day cover, it was used the phrase, the very Jewish tradition greeting, Shalom Aleichem, or Mirvam, a nickname of the of Shalom Aleichem. Okay, so so now let's move to another topic, another Jewish topic, which is not completely Jewish actually. This is the topic of Baben Yar, yes, a great massacre that happened in Kiev, was done by the Nazis, and happened in Kiev in 1941, and tens of thousands of people were killed there, and among them mostly Jews, but also Roma people and people with mental problems, and Ukrainian and the representatives of the Ukrainian national movements and so on, but mostly Jewish. So this is the very symbol of the Holocaust on the territory of Ukraine, Babin Yar or Babi Yar. And so here you can see an envelope, a cover, not the first day cover, which comes from 1991. So September 1991. So Ukraine just proclaimed its independence, but had no own philately, as I told you before. So it was like very a regular envelope fashioned in very Soviet style, with a picture of a famous monument which was erected in the Soviet time. Yes, no stamp, only an envelope and a cancellation here you can see, or like, you know, this and or this variation, you know, for some philatelists it's important because you can see so that one someone someone used this envelope even with the cancellation and sent it to someone else. You have a special mark here. So, and the address of the center, you know, Radyansky Soviet historical and educational center, Babin Yar. So it's, you know, it's like a historical artifact, this envelope is. Okay, so it's interesting that unlike other Jewish themes in Ukrainian philately, Ukraine issued Babin Yar stamps twice, on two occasions, on two anniversaries, 70th anniversary and 75th anniversary, accordingly in 2011 and 2016. So this is the stamp which was issued in 2011. You can see here a single stamp and the whole sheet of stamps. This is also an example for you, so you can see that when I said that some philatelists collect once a stamp, a single stamp, or and some collect the whole sheets, you can see a difference when you have a single stamp and when you have a sheet, because it's not only a combination, you know, of stamps, as you can see here. Yeah, it's not only 16 stamps together. You can see some design around, and sometimes it's very aesthetic phenomenon. So there is a big difference very oftenly to have one stamp, one single stamp, or to have the whole sheet of stamps. Okay,
Vitaly,
so
sorry. Oh, yep. Sorry to interrupt you. Just a heads up. We have 20 minutes left.
Yeah, I see.
And there's a question in the chat. Professor Helena Goldberg is asking, where would a postcard like this be sold? I believe referring to the envelope, the first envelope of Babin Yar.
Where it is sold?
Mm-hmm. Where would a postcard like that, or actually envelope, be? Where would it have been
in
sold?
other words, when can you when someone can buy a first day cover?
I believe that was the question. I don't know, Helena, if you can unmute and.
Okay, but let's have so we'll have some.
We'll have time
yeah,
for questions.
I have how many?
So we have 20 minutes left in total for the rest of your.
Okay, let's say 10 minutes for the final part and
Okay.
10 minutes for questions.
Sounds good.
So this is the first day cover of the first issue of Babin Yar. So again, so you can see the first day cover, yeah, and the stamp and the first day and the first day cancellation. Okay, the same year, 2011, So during the same year, it was one more issue of a stamp related to the Baben Yar, to the Baben Yar's theme. So this is the stamp which is dedicated to Tetiana Marcus. So Tetiana Marcus was she had she has Jewish origin, and she was an active in the Pitpilla.
Underground.
No, not underground. Sergei,
Underground.
not underground. not that Pitpilla, not cultural phenomenon. Podpolya, Pitpilla. Partisans. Resistance.
Maybe.
So she was no
resistance. Yeah.
Resistance. She was the active in the participant of the local resistance, Soviet resistance towards Nazis, and she finally was killed. So and she is a figure. And there is a monument of Tetiana Marcos erected in Baben Yar. So here you can see also a stamp which was dedicated to this person, and you can see there is also the mention that posthumously she was renowned as recognized as a hero of Ukraine, in independent Ukraine. So okay, this is the first day cover for Tetiana Marcos. And 2 cancellations in Kyiv and in Romny, Sumy, Sumska Oblast, Sumy region. Okay, so this is the second issue. The second issue of Baben Yar, the second Baben Yar's stamp in independent Ukraine. As I said, it was issued in 2016 and devoted to the 75th anniversary of Baben Yar. So you see some another. The design differs. It's another design, and again you can see it very clearly that there is the big difference when you have a single stamp, yeah, and the whole sheet. Okay, so this is the first day cover for Baben Yar 2, version 2. So first day cover, stamp, and a cancellation. Only in Kyiv. So this is an example of the backside of the first day cover. Okay, and now, so in 2016, the same year when the second Baben Yar stamp was issued, so there was the most Jewish themed stamp or stamps issued. So these stamps are dedicated to Jews as a nation, as an ethnic group in Ukraine, and but before, so this is like Shalom Aleichem for Ukrainian lads. It's the second time when we faced stamps dedicated to Jews. The first attempt was in the Soviet Union in 1933. So you can see. So this is one stamp. Just there is the same stamp, but not cancelled and cancelled, as you can see here. So it was dedicated to Jews. Where? In Birobidzhan. Yeah. So I think I don't need to explain what Birobidzhan is. Okay. So and let's get back to the stamps of independent Ukraine. So we have the 4 stamps dedicated to Jews. But before, just quickly, a few words about this series. But this is series. So this is series. This is not a single edition. So in 2015, it was so the first issue dedicated to ethnic minorities of Ukraine began, and that issue, the first issue of 2015, was dedicated to Crimean Tatars. From 2015 until now, we have several editions. We have, in chronological order, Crimean Tatars, Jews, Roma people, Greeks, and Germans. 5. Unfortunately, still there are no Poles, there are no Bulgarians still, but it's a question of future. So okay, what do we see on these stamps? So we have 4 stamps and 4 themes. We have, so okay, so let's move from the, let's say, from the left to the right. So here is the Jewish dance, Freilachs. In Yiddish, Freilachs, a traditional Jewish dance as a cultural dimension of Jewish life in Eastern Europe, in particular in Ukraine. Here we have the religious life. And the synagogue in Zhovkva in Ukrainian, Lvivska Oblast, Lviv region, and it's interesting that also in numismatics also there was a coin of independent Ukraine which was dedicated to this synagogue. So we have this synagogue represented both in stamps and coins of independent Ukraine. So here we can see the some aspects of Jewish religious life again. So it's a festive, a holiday, which is very closely now. So this is the New Year, the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, and finally, so there is an example of one of traditional Jewish vocations, professions, which is tailor. So very quickly now, because at the very final part of this presentation, so we can see the whole sheets again. You can see the difference, yeah, between single stamps and the whole sheets. So the whole sheets of these 4 stamps, 1, 2, 3, and 4 first day covers for these stamps. You can see, so there are different approaches. You can have when you have 4 stamps, you can have a first day cover with 1 of 4 stamps or with 4 stamps together. So you can see an example when you have 4 stamps together and 2 different cancellations, 2 different postmarks, one in Kiev and the second one where many places are good for for this in Ukraine, but yeah, it's Odessa. Yeah, at the second. So here is the first. In Ukraine, there is a practice, a practicing of private, so-called personalized stamps. When any person can go to the postal office, to the central postal office, and say, I can give you money, I can buy, so please, I can order my private edition. So here you have 300 hryvnia. Give me, please. I would like to issue 1 sheet or 2 sheets or 100 sheets. It's up to you. So of my private, so maybe it might be family picture or any anything. No, of course, with some limitations, like with some restrictions. not everything you want, of course, not porn, of course, or something like that. So so here you have, you know, in 2021 there was a new legislation. There was a new special day, a special occasion day established in Ukraine in May, in the end of May, and this day is dedicated to the righteous among the nations. You know, I think everyone among us knows what it means. It means the people who saved Jews during the Holocaust. So this was the private issue of this with this topic. And just give me just 1 minute. So and this is, you know, there unfortunately there was no official stamp, and there was no official cover, but there was an official envelope. It meant that you could take any envelope, any envelope, and with any stamp you wish, and to put this cancellation, to cancel this to cancel this or that material with this with this postmark. Okay, and the very final words in this presentation, the final theme. So this is the theme dedicated to Nobel Prize winners in different fields. So until today, there were 4 issues, 4 editions of the stamps in Ukraine dedicated to Nobel Prize winners. And it's interesting. Of course, we know that among the Nobel Prize winners, there are many Jews in different fields, in literature, chemistry, and physics, and etc. But for these stamps were selected, winners. There were selected winners who came from Ukrainian lands, and they had Jewish origins. So so this is Ilya Mechnikov, the patron of Odessa University and the great scientist. So there were first the covers, stamps, and cancellations. Everything was made for these editions. So 2 cancellations in Kiev and Odessa. Then Roald Hoffman. So among 4 persons, only one who is still alive, and he lives in Ithaca, and who is the former who is a professor emeritus from in Cornell University, a great chemist whose family was saved by Ukrainian impulse during the Holocaust in Zlochiv or Zolochiv in Ukrainian Lviv region. So this is also a theme and a topic of Holocaust survivors as well. So the 3rd person is okay. So I have an envelope, a cover signed especially for me. It was signed for us by Roald Hoffman recently and sent by post. So Roald Hoffman, born in Zolochiv in 1937, signed here in Ithaca in 2023. Pardon. The world is small, he said. Okay, so the 3rd person is a biologist, Zelman Waxman, and the last one Okay, so we're mostly people from humanities here, so it's more, it's closer to us. And I will end this presentation. So this is the Nobel Prize winner in literature, and only one Israeli writer from Israel, because there were quite many Jews in this field, but not from the state of Israel. From different countries, but from the state of Israel, there was and still he is only one from this country. This is Shmuel Yosef Agnon, who came from Buchach, which is now Ternopilska Oblast, Ternopil region. And what's interesting is that this stamp was a joint stamp of Ukraine and Israel in 2021. So you can see a Ukrainian issue here, and here you can see an Israel issue. First day covers, of course, one in Kiev and one in Buchach. An envelope with two stamps, Ukrainian and Israeli stamps simultaneously on the same envelope. An Israeli first day cover here. And here you can see a presentation or a souvenir leaf, which is only one leaf in Ukrainian philately at the moment. So it was the first one, and until now is the first one and the last one. So unlike some countries, Ukrainian philately doesn't practice this kind and this phenomenon which is called presentation or souvenir leaves or презентаційні аркуші in Ukrainian. So this is when you have tens of thousands and something and sometimes hundreds of thousand stamps, I mean printing runs. So for envelopes, it is usually calculated like, you know, like a few or several thousands. And for this presentation or souvenir leaf, it was printed. So there were only 500 copies. So this is Ukrainian and this is Israeli presentation leaves. And so this is here you can see the envelopes of the 90s, when there were no stamps, but there were special occasion envelopes like this one dedicated to Agnon. Even more, this envelope, this cover, Agnon's cover, was issued, as you can see, in 1998, and there was one more issued in 2008. So it's interesting. I'm kidding, and I have joke when, you know, so Agnon is he's the second one just after Shevchenko, Taras Shevchenko in Ukraine, which was honored to be issued 3 times. More times it's only in this is only in Shevchenko case, and this is the second place. Okay, so many artifacts I can tell about and I can show you. Maybe we'll have, maybe next year I will ask Sarah to have, like, you know, the lecture, the presentation, Jewish themes in Ukrainian philately, part 2. Maybe we'll do this, because you can see there are 170 slides here with different private editions and
Wow.
very interesting material. So currently I'm interested and I'm working on Jewish themes on Jewish topics in Ukrainian philately, but among my plans are to expand to deal with Jewish topics, of course, because I'm a person of Jewish studies, but to expand it to Eastern Europe and to study also Poland, Belarus, Moldova, Romania, etc., Czech Republic, etc., Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, etc. Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Would be pleased to listen to your questions and to answer them.
Thank you, Vitaly, for sharing this really fascinating material with us. Perhaps there are colleagues here who would be interested in collaborating with you on your future projects. We actually don't have time for Q&A. We need to move on to our next presentation, and I apologize for that. But I will remind folks that we do have the Telegram chat where we can continue discussing Vitaly's material and asking questions there. Svetlana, perhaps you'd be willing to put the link to our Telegram channel in the chat so that people could access that. I will say, if there's anyone that has an absolutely burning question for Vitaly that can't wait, I'll invite one person to raise your hand and ask a question if it just can't wait. Otherwise, we really do need to move on to our next presentation. So, anyone? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Vitaly, for that wonderful talk.